When should you apply for your first game dev job? That's what I want to talk about today. And I want to give the most blunt, most clear answer that I've ever given to this question. And let's just do it right from the start. Actually, first hit thumbs up button and then we'll do it. So what's the answer? When should you apply for it? I'm going to say this, that almost no matter where you are in the journey, the answer is probably today. And there's a good reason for that. Well, there are actually a couple good reasons for that. And the first is just that most of the time when developers are asking me this question, they're way beyond qualified for their first entry-level job. Now, that might not be the case for you, but that doesn't matter. You should still probably be applying today. And let me just talk a little bit about that, because I was thinking about, if my kids asked me, like, when should I apply for this position? I sure as hell am not going to say, wait until you meet all of the qualifications, wait until you're positive that you can definitely get that job. I'm going to say, go do some research on it today and apply today or tomorrow. Go find out what it is that they're looking for. Send over as much of what it is that they're looking for that you have in your application or your resume and apply right away. There's no harm in applying now versus the alternative is waiting. And I think that the downside of waiting to do just about anything that's really important has huge negative consequences versus the upside of just giving it a try right away. So what does this mean if you're not already able to write games and do game programming? So maybe you can kind of loosely understand a little bit of game code. Maybe you can hack around a little bit of game stuff. Apply for some game dev jobs that maybe you feel you can do. You don't necessarily have to apply for a game programming job or a game design job, although I would apply for those both, but also apply for some QA jobs, customer service jobs, and other jobs at the companies that you're interested in working in, so that you can get your foot in the door and you can make those steps up. I mean, when I think about when I got my first game dev job, it actually came from somebody sending me a message who I had played games with before, asking if I was interested in interviewing. But before that, I had actually applied and interviewed at that company multiple times. I'd applied twice and I think interviewed once with somebody who then quit right after I had the interview with them, which was interesting. I mean, who knows what would have happened differently then, but it was the fact that I had gone through interviewing with them enough times, I think he knew that I was interested, and kind of the opportunity opened up. And then from there, obviously, it was able to transition and move into other departments in the company, which I think is what I would recommend for a lot of people. But I guess the core of this was really just that I've seen a lot of people just not applying for positions because they feel like they can't do the full job. Like they're not qualified to do everything on the list, or, they look at the job, they go, oh, I don't know how to do all of that. And to be honest, that's always going to be the case. You're never going to know how to do the full job before you've been hired for the job. Well, there are some cases for that, but when you're in those scenarios, you're not going to be worried about it at all, and you're going to be getting paid a whole lot of money. But most of the time, you're going to be going into a situation where with software, you're building something that you kind of have some idea about, but don't really know how to build. And you're going to be discovering that and kind of learning that along the way throughout the process of working with the team that you're hired to work with and doing the actual work. Every developer learns a lot on the job. In fact, I'd say most developers learn 90% of what they know, 90% of what they actually use on the job, actually in practice working. So applying for the jobs is, I think, the best way to really get the experience. You've got to get out there and do it. And you've got to get past the whole, fear of rejection. Because I think the biggest problem is that people will, they'll get their resume put together and they'll just blast it out to 100 different places and then not hear anything back and then be like, oh, I just got 100 rejections. When realistically, probably out of those 100 things that they sent it to, maybe less than 10, maybe 5 of them looked at it because they're just mass blasting it out on these platforms where hundreds of people are hitting a button and they just kind of quickly scroll through. My recommendation for applying for game dev jobs is always to Well, do a big wide search, but look at the companies that you're interested in and go directly to their web pages. Take a look at the positions that they have. They might have some positions that you didn't even realize were options. Some production positions are a great example of that, some of the QA opportunities. And sometimes there's even IT and technical positions where you're working on things. If you're already doing technical stuff that's not necessarily game development, they're always hiring for different technical, computer related things inside those game dev companies. There's lots of stuff that needs to happen, managing servers, managing the entire infrastructure and all that. So lots of positions there. But again, the recommendation is go directly to those pages. Check out the actual positions there and then tailor your resume or CV and your portfolio to that position, which really just means like focus on and highlight the things that they're interested in. If they've got, they're working in Unity, then make sure that your Unity experience is up at the top, not your Unreal stuff. If they're working on Unreal, obviously invert that and put the Unreal stuff at the top. You want to focus on the technologies and the things that they're interested in looking for so that you can show them what it is that you can bring to the team and how it is that you can really kind of help them out. So make sure that you're highlighting those things, but don't just sit around waiting until you have something to put on there or waiting until your resume looks perfect. Do it today. Just go in there, restructure it, reformat it, update it as best you can, and start applying. Start getting those applications out and getting back some individual rejection letters. If you get back a rejection from a company that's you've directly applied to them, just ask them in a follow-up email, say, hey, thank you for taking a look at my application. Could you, if you have a chance, could you take a look and just tell me what it is that I'm missing or what it is I could work on before I apply again, because I'm really interested in this and like to apply in the future. Just like to know what I should work on to improve. With that, you're going to, one, get some goodwill with the company because they're going to know that you're interested and want to improve, but you're also going to get a lot of good feedback on what it is that you missed or what it is that you didn't have that they're looking for. And you can kind of take that, if you get it from 4 or 5 different people, you'll get really good feedback on exactly where you're lacking, and again, be able to reapply for those positions later. And to be honest, the process of applying and the process of interviewing, it's a skill just like anything else, and it's something that you'll get better at over time. You just have to remember that just because you didn't get the job doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means that you weren't the perfect candidate for that position. You got to remember there's hundreds of people applying for all of these different positions. It could be any number of factors. Usually it's just that they found somebody who had more skill, or was cheaper, and was available quicker, or a lot of times just that you waited too long to apply. Somebody else has already came in that looked better. So get in there early, apply right away, and I would say just keep applying as much as possible. Don't wait. Learn stuff along the way. Of course, keep building up your skills, but try to start working as soon as possible. Don't put it off. That's my advice. That's what I would recommend, again, to my kids or anybody else who asked me directly. So I wanted to share it here. If you think it was helpful at all, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, share. And if you have a request or an idea for a video topic, game dev related, technical or not, drop a comment down below and let me know, and I will try to get that done quickly. All right, thanks. See you soon.